Welcome back to the podcast, Vintage and Stuff, with your host, Drew Heifetz, where we talk about all things vintage and a bunch of random stuff. Today on the show, I have MARISSA DAL SANTO. A bunch of you probably already know who she is, and a bunch of you probably don't, but let me give you the quick 1-2, okay? She is a vintage dealer coming out of Denver, Colorado. She is also an avid skateboarder. She is an 3 times X Games gold medal skateboarder, for that matter. And she has some of the heaviest footage I've ever seen of a female skater. And I'm talking hammers. You know, I like to use that word, hammer. She puts them down. This episode was a lot of fun. We have a great conversation. She was part of the big deadstock dig in Denver, Colorado that happened with all those bootleg shirts a couple years ago. She is an avid Etsy seller, been doing it for almost 10 years now. And just a great, great person. And we had a really fun chat. So excited for this one. Before we get into the episode, let me give a shout out to some of my patrons. Ashley of Pink Skull Vintage, True Hogan, thank you very much. I have Marshall Bayless, thank you. Joel Bernstein, thank you. And thank you to all the patrons who support me. If you want to support this show, you can click the link up in that corner and you can get on there. The point of the Patreon is to allow me to help you be successful in your vintage business. I want you to make more money, okay? That's what it's all about. I do like helping people, and this allows me to help you guys. And it supports me to put out more content like this. This week on the Patreon, I'm going to be dropping my top 10 list of easiest things to sell on eBay. So definitely check that out. Link up in the corner there. That's it. No more news unless I have anything on my list. Nope, that's it. Let's get into the episode. MARISSA DAL SANTO. Enjoy.
We got vintage clothing by the rack, yeah. Just check out my Insta, how you gon' argue with that? Everything you see I manifest. I'm an architect, I think I'ma run it back. We got vintage clothing by the rack. Just check out my Insta, how you gon' argue with that? Everything you see I manifest. I'm an architect, I think I'll have some of that.
MARISSA, thank you for coming on the show.
No problem.
I am super stoked on this episode. I was telling my friend Alicia, actually, that you were coming on the show, and she's a super fan. She was freaking out.
Damn.
Yeah,
that's cool.
She's one of my good surf buddies, and she's a fellow skater. And yeah, I'm super stoked to have you on the show. You actually got nominated by somebody else. I forget who, but shout out whoever nominated you to come on the show.
Good looks.
Yeah, because you are selling vintage now, correct?
Yeah, I have been for like some time.
When did you start?
It's been almost 8 years, pretty much. Like being like on top of it, and like, I mean, just online on Etsy or whatever, but been keeping up with it pretty good. For like, I've had like the Gen X extravaganza deal for like almost 8 years. But I mean, before that, I would do like wholesale and, you know, go to Buffalo Exchange and all that shit like everybody does.
Gen Extravaganza, by the way, sick name.
Thanks.
Super rad.
Yeah, it's come a long way.
I want to get into all that, and I want to get into your move to Denver. You're in Denver now currently, right?
Yeah.
But I know you kind of have like a good history in, I feel like, have you worn vintage your whole life? Were you thrift shopping your whole life?
Not far from like high school, early high school, pretty much. That's like when I started to get really into it. But I didn't have a car, so I was pretty limited to ones I could go to. Like I was too young to drive, but once I got my license, like that's when it was on. Like I was really like adamant about it, and going to like Salvation Armies after school like every other day and shit. Like I've pretty much
Nice.
always been into it.
So you're from Chicago, correct?
Yeah.
So talk to us about like growing up skating in Chicago and how that kind of influenced your style, and then like thrifting in those early days, and like what kind of stuff were you grabbing?
I mean, growing up skating, it was just kind of like an outcast sort of degenerate activity, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I got really into it because there's no coach, there's no adults. Like, it's pretty much you could do whatever you want. You could do it by yourself. You could assemble a crew. Like, it was low key and just fun, and nobody really telling you like what to do. You could just kind of figure it out,
Hell
and
yeah.
that's what really like appealed to me about it. And then kind of like in the end, like thrifting and stuff like that, like in the same kind of way, like it was just like, like I'm from like a middle class suburb of Chicago, and like it's mostly like preppy kids and jocks and like some kind of, nerd weirdo like art kids and skaters and stuff. But it was all just kind of like just some weird nerdy like kind of outcast subculture type thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, fully. What years was this? Like you started skating in the 90s, right?
Yeah, like 97, 98.
Okay. Um, so I want to jump ahead here too. I did watch a lot of your interviews, and I did some reading, and I literally really nerded out on you for the last couple of days, actually.
Sorry, there's some embarrassing stuff out there.
No, it was a lot of fun, and I got the vibe. Like you won a ton of X Games. You placed in like 20 X Games. I don't really want to go too into it, but I just want to.
That many.
Well, there was like at least 10 you were in, right?
Yeah, there were 10. I did that shit for way too long. It was like 10 years of that stuff.
And I got the vibe. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but I got the vibe like that whole contest scene for you was very much a job, right? And that's just what I interpreted from your interviews and stuff. Like, did you enjoy that period? Like, did you enjoy competing? Did you enjoy the X Games and like winning all those events? Or was it really just a job for you, a way to like keep skating and making the cash?
It was a job. Like, it was definitely because I never got paid to skate aside from like contests. So, I mean, I tried really hard, and like, I mean, I was skating a lot at the time, and I mean, I was like, 20, 21, like on top of my shit, like just obsessed with skating, and I had the opportunity to skate for zero and stuff. So I was just young and ambitious, and I was like, like I could do this. Like, I mean, I was confident and just skating a lot and really feeling it. So, I mean, the contests, I didn't necessarily enjoy them, but I was like, I mean, I could like just grind this rail 100 times and, not have to work for a year.
Yeah.
So that was sort of like my outlook on it in ways. But I mean, I became friends with like a lot of the, other like girls in the contest, like, like Vanessa Torres and Amy and Alyssa, and like I like just became good friends with all of them. So, and that was like kind of the only time I would see all of them too. So that was always, they were fun, but it was like, it's not like it wasn't like super stressful or like really cringe, just like, I don't know, like not a good side of skateboarding.
It's interesting because if that's like your whole income and that's where you're making all your money, that's a lot of pressure, no?
No, totally. I mean, I'm pretty thankful for it, but I mean, I was like, young, living in Southern California, and I went quite a while without working a job, so that was kind of cool. But yeah, it was like it's all down to this day. Like,
Yeah.
I drive up to LA and skate for like 2 hours, and that kind of determines like my year. Like, am I gonna have to get a real job this year? Like, type thing. But I mean, I was just super young, and I don't know, kind of fortunate to even have that opportunity at all.
Yeah, it's super rad. So have you ever worked a real job?
No, I have for sure, but I mean, not really until I was like 24. Like towards the end, I like kind of got over that whole scene. Like, I don't want to have this pressure to like win a contest. Like, so, and I was like, I got hurt and I was like kind of falling out of the whole skate thing. So I managed to get a job at like the black box warehouse, just like shipping orders and, picking and packing and whatever. And I'd like, on like on some vintage nerd shit, I would like climb the racks and they would have all the backstock stuff in boxes, and they had like original American Zero shirts on like Tomieto tag, like from like 97. Like
Damn.
there was some pretty cool stuff to lurk around. Like sometimes I would just tuck away and like on a slow day I would just like climb the racks and just like dig through boxes and like come up on shit. Like
That
it
is
was
so
slow.
fucking rad.
It was slow, and like nobody would really like question where I was, but I was just like digging through boxes, like, oh, like an original skull hoodie, like from like misled youth era, and just, stuff like that. It was pretty cool to just like have access and like be able to like stumble across stuff like that, just like
Yeah,
at
totally.
work.
Well, I'm a vintage dealer, so that's the funnest part of this job is going to find those places. And if you're like
Yeah.
working at one, I'm actually flying somewhere next week to go on a dig for music tees.
Oh, that's
Store that
awesome.
still has quite a bit left. And there's been a couple digs that have come up this year that I could have flown out to. I think there's one in like Tennessee, but
Oh,
we
that's
can't
exciting.
fly to the States right now because we have
Oh
like this
yeah.
quarantine lockdown, like travel bans. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. It'd be harsher, like just international.
Yeah, big time.
Damn, I want to go on
Um,
a dig like that.
as far,
That sounds exciting.
have you ever done a dig like that, like outside of this job you had?
No, not really. I mean, that was just like me being bored and just, exploring. Like half of the stuff I didn't even grab, like dumb, like, just not even really thinking about it. Cause I wasn't like reselling or anything yet. And I was like, oh, all this stuff is like XL. Like I could never wear this shit. So I just leave it. And now it's in like Jamie Thomas's like storage space or like buried in his backyard or some shit.
Yeah, totally. Well, that's part of the we're archaeologists. We gotta like uncover this shit
Yeah,
because it's
no,
like otherwise it's doing no good in some grandma's attic or like wherever this stuff is sitting. And
no, that's totally the way I look at it too.
it needs to be enjoyed.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question from one of the Instagram followers. This is Rockwell Vintage. What was it like working for Jamie, and is his reputation of a perfectionist over exaggerated?
Uh, I I don't think I could get that into that because he'll probably see this, but um, he was fine, and yes, it's not over exaggerated.
Okay. I want to get into moving to Denver, the transition out of California, but I have a question here about you turned down becoming a pro. You've talked about this a lot, but my question about this is, I grew up skating, I grew up snowboarding, and I was like sponsored snowboarder for a long time and like making money in contests. Like I used to compete a lot in the late 90s and early 2000s in snowboarding. And there was a transition for me that when I got out of it was really hard. Really hard. And I think it was hard I think it's hard mentally for a lot of athletes and a lot of people in any sport and especially extreme sports. But so my question is like, when you made that decision to get away from skating and move away from California, and obviously you're still skating because like you never stopped skating,
Right.
but was it hard mentally to transition from like being in the contest, potentially winning all these contests? You had that offer. You're filming amazing video parts. Like your video parts were so epic. I like literally
Thanks.
watched some of them over and over.
And like, how was that mentally, that transition for you? Like, was that hard? Because I don't know. I feel like it would be tough.
Dude, honestly, like I considered that like when I was like 22, 23, like after like, Strange World came out and stuff, because I was hurt. Like I like needed to get surgery and stuff. But I was like, whatever, I've got all this money. I've got good health insurance right now. Like I'll just get this stuff fixed and then, go back at it. Like I'm still mentally down to like, like try to do this skate thing. But I mean, there was like one last injury that I was like, fuck this, I'm good. Like if I stay out here, like I'm not going to think of skating the same way. I'm not going to enjoy it. Like, so I mean, I guess mentally it was like I was kind of already like I sort of like prepared myself for it, but also kind of, I mean, I like wasn't happy. I was like, well, if I do this, like if I move back home and get away from it all, get out of the industry, because that was like I was just becoming so jaded and like it was like too much skate. Like
Yeah.
I needed to just get back with like, my old friends that we used to just mess around and like just be 12 again. Like that's kind of all I wanted. So I guess it really wasn't hard. Like it was kind of a relief, honestly.
Okay, cool. And I would imagine there's so much pressure. Obviously you felt the pressure big time. And what, at that point, when you were at the top of your game before you left, did you still get joy out of like throwing down tricks and landing? Like, did you get joy from that, or was it too much pressure?
No, I mean, like, just like skating and filming and, just like getting out into the wild, like, just skating street and getting clips and stuff. Like, I mean, I'd never like pushed myself like that, I guess. Like, I never tried that hard, like, to like really, progress and like just push my own limits and stuff, like honestly, like I kind of like surprised myself, like damn, like I'm skating with like James Brockman and like Tommy Sandoval, like I have to like be good. Like,
Yeah.
like these people, this person who films for Zeros, like going out of his way to like try to film me jump down this thing. Like, well, I mean, at the time I was like, I got this. Like, I mean, it would be scary and like kind of hard to make myself actually like try shit sometimes, but like, I mean, I don't know, it was just being ambitious, like
Yeah,
just
totally.
young and ambitious, I guess.
Well, it definitely shows. I told you about that rail. So you have that rail that's like a 3-flat-3 crooked grind out to the sidewalk. I drive by that rail like every day on my way to work.
Yeah.
That spot is like kind of famous.
Oh
Obviously,
yeah.
I'm in Vancouver. What do you think of Vancouver, by the way?
I loved it. I want to go back. I mean, I've been like a few times. I've been to like Slam City Jam and shit. Like,
So you have?
in like 2006. Yeah, like
Yeah,
before.
that would have been the end of it, probably.
Yeah, I went to like the last couple, like right after I graduated high school.
That's so sick. I was going to ask you that because when I'm from the East, I'm from closer to where you grew up, Ontario, like Toronto.
Yeah.
But Vancouver, kind of like LA, kind of like California is for Americans. Like Vancouver is the LA of Canada for skating, right?
I could see that.
So we all growing up, you're like, I got to move out to Vancouver. The weed's really good, and it's not as cold. The skating's sick.
Yeah, just being on the coast and stuff, or like the West Coast.
Yeah, those early Slam City jams were so much fun.
Oh yeah, I had all those 4-on-1 videos. Like getting invited to that. Like the first time I ever flew by myself was to Vancouver when I was like fresh 19. Like or maybe I was like about to turn 19 or something. Like it was like 2006, I think. But like I skated Tampa Am, and my dad was like my parents didn't want me to fly to Tampa by myself and just be with a bunch of people I don't know. I like just graduated high school and stuff. So my dad drove me to Tampa Am, and like I was like you know, like I just turned 18. I was trying to party and like meet people and get in the skate world and stuff. But I was there with my dad. So like I was kind of hindering. But then like 4 months later, he was like, "Oh yeah, you could go to Vancouver by yourself. That's cool." I was like, "What? Like, how does that make any sense?" But I mean,
Yeah,
it was fun.
party capital, and
Yeah.
those Slam City Jam parties were always next level.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever go to the Crack Pipe? It's called.
I don't know.
It was like this in East Vancouver. If you've been to Van enough, you know like East Van is pretty down and out. It's like the Skid Row of LA.
Yeah.
But there's this. It was this full long building with this crazy mini ramp. It must have been, I don't know, like 100 feet wide mini ramp or something.
Dude, I feel like I'd remember that. I don't think
Yeah.
I've been to that.
Because they always had parties after Slam at that ramp.
That sounds
nuts.
epic. I wish.
So tell us about that rail, because I heard in some interview you broke your ankle doing that K grind out to the sidewalk, and then you did it again.
Yeah, I broke my ankle and my pinky toe of my other foot that like I never got fixed. Like that thing is kind of fucked still. And I mean I ended up like wearing a boot for like 4 months. And like I almost had to get surgery and stuff. But yeah, I broke my ankle and landed it a couple tries later. I guess like sketchy or like I don't know, like kind of suddenly like I could have done it better. And my friend filming was honest, like, yo, like Jamie's not gonna use that. Like you should do it again, like before the pain really sets in and like your broke ass ankle. So I managed to do it again. It didn't take me that long. I mean, initially it took me forever. That's like one of the scariest things I've ever done. And I like pushed my luck. Like that shit was like, that took like many tries. Like it wasn't like 10th try or something.
Yeah.
We were there for probably like a few hours. But yeah, I did it again and then couldn't skate for like 6 months.
And then was it like, you know, a couple hours later that thing just swelled up and you can't even walk, or what?
Oh, it was immediately. It was like, I'm done. Like, good thing I did it again. I was stoked to get, you know, actually like get one like clip that I was like super proud of. And that was like one of the gnarlier things I've ever done, honestly. But then after that, like I was just done. Like I couldn't skate the rest of the trip. Like when we got back to California, I had to like get MRIs and shit. I like tore ligaments in my ankle, and they were like either like you could get surgery or you could wear a boot for like 3-4 months and do physical therapy, and it'd be like the same healing time. So I was like, yeah, fuck surgery. Like I'll just do the boot or whatever.
Ligaments are always worse. If you tear ligaments, they don't heal the same as muscles or bones, right? So
No, totally, yeah.
it's way tougher. I've had problems in the past.
Sure.
Well, it's a sick clip. At least
Thanks.
you got the shot. So another question. This one's from Vipe Vintage. Why were you not in any Tony Hawk Pro Skater games? You are fucking sick, is what he wrote.
I think that was like kind of before my time. I mean, when the Tony Hawk games were coming out, I was like in high school.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have like had the opportunity to. But I mean, kudos to Vipe Vintage. That's pretty sick. Fuck. I mean, at the time, I totally would have.
Yeah. Yeah, well, for sure. But I thought they keep putting those games out. Don't they just keep making new games, new like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 10 now or something?
I mean, it seems like now they are, but
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, I'd let Tony and Activision pay me. Like, that'd be badass.
Yeah, no shit. Apparently, that's like where he made all the money.
Oh,
like
I
when
bet,
that first game came out, I've listened to interviews with him. It's wild. So let's get into you transition out of California and you moved to Denver, and then you got into the resale game, right?
Close, almost. I mean, I moved back home to Chicago for like 3 years, and that's like kind of when I started to get into the resale deal, because I was like when I moved back home, I was, you know, just going to the classic spots, thrifting a lot, like finding a bunch of cool shit, and like I knew of a couple of vintage stores in Chicago that would wholesale, and like, you know, stuff wasn't like going for as much money in 2000, 11, 12. So I would just make some quick cash, like bring them like, a bag full of shirts. They'd give me like $75, and then I'd like go to the record store and buy a bunch of records. It's like kind of like along those lines. Like, wasn't really like fully in it. But now thinking back, I'm like, damn, I had like the coolest shit back then. Like, I could sell the fuck out of that for like $300 now. Like,
Yeah,
just
totally.
kind of like in hindsight or whatever. But and then
we
I
all
went
have
on.
that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, that's just like the way it goes. But I went on a trip to New York with my friend and met up with my friend Jolene, who lives up there, and I told her about like, I've been like thrifting a lot and doing wholesale, and like kind of thinking about doing eBay, but I was always just like afraid of shipping. Like, I didn't want to have to like deal with shipping or USPS. I didn't know how much it cost or like how to go about it. I mean, I'm sure that's like a lot of people's problem too. But she was like,
it is a huge pain in the ass, basically.
yeah. But I mean, she's the one that like suggested Etsy. I was like, like, I mean, I guess it's worth a shot. Like, I've got a bunch of cool shit. I could like list, like 10 things and see how it goes. And I mean, it just kind of took off. And that was in like 2013 or something, I think.
Nice. So, it was right good from the beginning. Like, Etsy was just, you were selling shit easily on Etsy. I've never really done Etsy.
Not really. I mean, it definitely took a while, but I kind of picked up on like the algorithm pretty quick. Like, I listed like 10 things at first that were like, they were cool, but like, $20, $25, like kind of cheaper stuff. And like, I'd sell a couple things in like a week, or like, like I like got a first sale. I was like, oh, cool. Like, within like 4 days or something. And then like, I don't know, I just like kept up with it and kept listing, and it just kind of grew. And like, feel like just on that platform, like kind of the more you list, the more, people will see your store, and like the more likely I mean, I guess that's how anything goes. It's just, that's the only thing I've ever really used.
Yeah. And that's that's like your main income to this day?
Pretty much, yeah.
Did you ever have a mentor in the game? Like, do you have other friends or back in that period, like that taught you about vintage, and like, were you picking like just t-shirts, or how did you learn about what's worth money and all that stuff?
I just kind of, I don't know, I sort of figured it out on my own for the most part, just by like, just taking note, like, and kind of having stuff from when I was a kid, like, like older skate clothes, like, oh, like this is like made in USA, like newer stuff isn't made in USA anymore. And just kind of like little nuances, like just telling like different tags. Like, I'd see like, like a Champion tag from the 80s, like, oh, that doesn't look like a Champion tag now, that must be old. And like this single stitch and whatever. Like,
Yeah.
so just little things that kind of like make them, a little more apparent, or like stand out from like newer clothes, just like the feel of the fabric and stuff. Like, when I was in high school, like I kind of started to pick up on that more, but it was pretty much just t-shirts at the time. Like, I didn't know shit about like, denim, or like pretty much anything else, like any outerwear or anything like that. Like, it was pretty much just t-shirts at that point.
Yeah, I seen you in an interview wearing Soundgarden tee, a sick one, I think. And your graphic on your board, is it the board you just released? It's like a Misfits vibe.
Yeah, that was like a Zero guest board for their 20th. Yeah, it was like their 20th anniversary thing. They did a guest board for me. It was like,
yeah,
but
super
yeah,
rad graphic.
it was the Misfits one. Yeah, the like Die My Darling or whatever.
So, like, is music a big influence for you into like what you're about, and like your picking and what you're into for vintage?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I definitely had like more of a band tee phase. Now, like, I mean, it's cool to find because it's hard to find, but I mean, I probably wouldn't spend, people are spending like hundreds of dollars and like $1,000, like on like, fucking like Dinosaur Jr. shirt. They can't name a song. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But I mean,
Totally.
I've always been like super influenced by music in skating and I mean, pretty much everything.
Yeah. So when you were thrifting in the early days, would you find a lot more music tees? And do you have some from that you've kept?
Dude, honestly, no. Like there were a handful that I had that like I had like the sickest like 70s Beatles shirt that I just sold to some vintage store in Chicago for like $10. Like a sick like like one of the things I like wished I still had. But I mean, honestly, I don't really remember seeing anything that crazy. Like here and there, but I have a Peter Murphy shirt that I thrifted in Chicago when I was like 21, 22, like when I was back home visiting from California. And that was honestly like the tail end of like finding stuff like in those old thrifts I always used to go to. Like they kind of changed them up and now they're all like TJ Maxx or something.
Yeah.
Like they got like new management and now they like, they just put out like just kind of like newer reject, like a Marshalls or something. So that was like kind of a last hurrah was finding that shirt. But that was probably like the coolest like band shirt I found, like, in the before time.
How do you compare picking in Chicago versus Denver?
I mean, it's no secret. Everybody goes to the bins. Everybody knows about the Goodwill outlet. Like we didn't have those back in the day. So that place, I mean, it's already blown out, so I don't feel bad like blowing it out more. That place is a gift. Like it's just like, I mean, you have like a way better shot at finding stuff there than at like retail, because now like, I mean, they've like caught on, like they either throw that stuff out or they like there's people in the back that know. I mean, like I feel like that like a lot of the cool older stuff doesn't even see the light of day at like retail thrift stores anymore.
Yeah, well, a lot of it, if it's damaged, it gets tossed and then it goes to like the rag yard or something.
Yeah.
Or they're probably, yeah, because I think Salvation Armies are selling shit online by themselves now, and
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Like everybody knows. Like
yeah,
you could just look up whatever and like, see like, oh, this is worth like $150. Like we'll just put it on our web store. Fucking greedy thrift store assholes.
yeah.
Like they
Aren't
get
you
all that shit
supposed to
for
be
free.
helping people? Aren't you supposed to be donating all this money? I got qualms
Yeah.
with. I don't think does America have Value Village? I think it might just be a
No,
Canadian thing. So
I
our
don't think
Salvation
so.
Army is called Value Village. It's fucking huge. We have Salvation Army too, but Value Village in Canada is basically bigger.
Hmm.
You donate your clothes to them.
I've heard of that actually.
Yeah, they're huge. They're like Walmart thrift stores.
Right.
You donate your clothes to them, and then their thing is that they pay like a percentage to Big Brothers and Big Sisters, which is like an organization to help pair like kids with like mentors as adult figures, or it's a cool organization.
Yeah, just like a good influence, like older figure, like a big brother. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And when you donate something, they weigh it, and then they're like, we'll pay 2 cents per pound that you donate to us to this organization. So it's super small money that they give to these people. And then the company is like straight up for-profit company. The only thing they do good is pay that 2 cents per pound out. But they're basically getting everything for free.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I read the stats, like the family who owns Value Village, everyone's donating and donating and donating. They made like 300 million, a couple years ago as like,
And like $200 is going to these like underprivileged kids.
yeah,
Like some insane low like fraction.
it's a huge scam. And like, it's kind of like they pull the blinders over people because you see these donation bins, and when you go there, you're like, donate to charity. Yes, you are donating to charity, but it's such a small percentage. You're really donating to this family to make more millions in profit.
Yeah.
Anyway, my
No,
rant on
for
them.
sure. That's totally how it is. Like, I don't trust that shit for a second. I mean, like, they
Yeah.
get shit for free and then they price something for like $50. Like, there's like, they know about like Redline Levi's and shit. Like, the people at the thrift stores know. It's like kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, and then that's the other thing. In Canada, our prices are so high. Like a base T-shirt in Canada at the thrift store can be like
Like,
$7.99 or something.
yeah,
It's
for
super high.
sure.
So when you're trying to like, sure, if you find a $200 T-shirt for $7.99, you're like score. But
Yeah, no shit.
most of the shirts are fucking
But
$15 T-shirts or
like the
something. And
chances of that happening are like slim to none.
yeah. Got another question from Pete. Pete
All
is
right.
my homeboy. He's a butcher now. His
Cool.
Instagram is Pete Hesh. We grew up skating together since we were like kindergarten.
Sweet.
His question is, where did I have it here? Okay, a lot of female skaters from your era had a tomboy type style, and they said that's not exactly the case nowadays. But being a girl in the skate scene in the 90s, 2000s, most of the skate clothes were for men, right? Like there wasn't a lot of female brands at all at that time.
No, there weren't. And I mean, I wouldn't have worn that shit anyways. I've always worn boys' clothes. I wore jeans. I got like made fun of for wearing jeans in like third grade. Like I had like orange tab Levi's that my mom got me from Sears, and like I was so stoked on them, and I wear them to school, and like all the girls are making fun of me. I mean, I don't really like the tomboy like that like moniker, I guess, but
Yeah,
like,
fair enough. I mean, I was
but,
wondering about that.
I've always worn boys' clothes, men's clothes. I mean, now it doesn't matter. If I like it, I'll rock it. But
Yeah, and do you think that, like, the question was kind of, do you think that
but
growing up in that era and like being around that men's clothing and like that style, does that help you develop like a good eye for vintage?
probably, yeah, I'd imagine so. Because I mean, that's just like that's true. They didn't really make like women's clothes, so I mean, I wore men's size shoes, and to this day, like I've like when somebody asks me what size shoe I wear, I'm like 7 men's. Like I don't know what that is in women's, like, or like just kind of, or like waist size. I just go like by like men's waist size. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I was never familiar with women's clothes, and back then, like I mean, I don't know. I liked it. I just like t-shirts and like just normal fitting stuff. Like nothing was like I liked like just loose fitting shirts and not like some weird flared pants and like whatever was like trendy for girls. Like that's like the only stuff you could find. You couldn't find like women's like just straight leg pants.
Yeah. No, I feel that. So do you pick and sell like feminine women's vintage now?
If it like stands out to me, I'll grab it. But I don't know shit about women's clothes, honestly. Like I have a friend who is more familiar, who like pretty much sells like vintage dresses and stuff exclusively. So I'll like send her pictures like, yo, I found this dress. I think it's cool. I thought maybe it might hold some value. And she's like, yeah, I'll grab that. So I'll get it for her. And then like down the line, she'll find like a 6 shirt. And I'm like, yo, got you all those dresses. So I got like sources I could go through. But I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know too much about it, honestly.
It's a tricky category, I find.
Yeah.
Even for
I mean,
me, like
it's all pretty much unisex these days anyways, but
yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
I like that. I like how it's going in that direction.
Yeah.
Even with the stuff we make nowadays, because we do a lot of reworking,
Cool.
we are trying to push more in that direction, unisex vibes.
Yeah, for sure.
I saw on your page you recently acquired a souvenir jacket, a Sukajan.
I did. I bought one off my friend.
Yeah.
My friend pulled one from the bins out here like last week, though. It was pretty exciting.
Nice.
I don't
So
know, where'd you see that on my? Like,
I thought it was
Instagram?
on your Instagram. I saw it somewhere.
No, I bought one off my friend like 6 months ago or so. Because
okay.
he had one that I'd like been thinking about, like I couldn't get it out of my mind. Like, I need that jacket. You know, just like something you just can't stop thinking about until like it's yours. So we like worked out a deal. But no, my friend Jake pulled one last week, and we're all pretty stoked that it ended up in his hands out of anybody.
Yeah. So, like, do you buy a lot of true vintage, and do you find it?
I find it on occasion. I mean, usually nothing that crazy, but that's kind of the stuff I've been like more into lately. Like, kind of less flashy, like just like some old, you know, like a gym shirt or something, just some random school or some shit. Like, kind of been getting a little more like hyped on stuff like that. Just more basic stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Speaking of that and like finding stuff and the the hype, like I know for me, picking is it's like a drug, you know. You get a dopamine hit when you find something dope, right?
Yeah, totally.
And it's the same kind of with skating and like hitting, like landing something. You get that
for
fucking
sure.
high. So like, yeah, like how is that comparison for you? And like, do you get that same kind of vibe from like finding something sick as you did when you were skating heavy?
Oh yeah, I think about that all the time. Like, it's spot on.
Really?
Yeah, it's like the same shit. Like, if you like find something, like no matter where it is, like even like, you know, like you get a good deal online or some shit, like you're like, finally, like I tracked this down. I've been looking for this for years. It's like, you know, going back to a spot 10 times to like land a trick or something, or like learning something you've been trying for a while. Like, it's totally similar to me.
Yeah, it's like you get like fired up and you get like a little like shaky like adrenaline, and
For sure.
it's a wicked feeling. And
I guess so, like, true.
I guess people, you know, you kind of always have to have that. I think that having that in life is so fucking important. And I think a lot of people, like, if you didn't grow up skating or like having that kind of excitement, like you might not even relate to it on a level.
Right.
You know?
No, for sure. Like, I think about that all the time. Like, that totally makes sense to me.
Yeah. That's fucking awesome. Okay, so back to the bins here in Colorado. So you mentioned like, yeah, it's blown out. Everyone knows about it. I know about it. You know, I have a lot of friends in Denver. I feel like Denver is kind of a vintage hub for America in a way.
It really is, but I mean, it's cool. Like, we're pretty fortunate here. Like, everybody's nice. We're all cool with each other. Like, everybody's friends, essentially. Like, there's no like weird bad juju or animosity or like rivalry or anything. Like, there's some like competition, but it's pretty friendly for the most part, which is cool. But I mean, there's
because that doesn't happen everywhere. Like,
no,
especially
for sure.
not way back in the day. It was the opposite of that. But
oh, totally. I mean, I could see that for sure. I mean, like, just growing up, having been doing this for a while, like, I didn't know anybody else who was really into it besides like the people that ran the vintage stores that I'd go to in Chicago. But like, I kind of wish I like developed more of a relationship with those guys though, because those shops were really cool. And like,
back in Chicago,
yeah, like there's a store, it's gone now, but it was called Land of the Lost, and it was like just this little vintage basement that was super cool. And I would always bring stuff into them to sell, and they'd give me like $50, and you know, I'd go to like Reckless Records that was across the street and like just spend it all like on like a couple albums or something.
I see.
But like,
yeah, obviously
I should have like it would have been cool to like develop a relationship and be like, yo, like, what else you got? Like, let me see what's in that back room. You know?
Hell yeah. You are always repping Chicago. I've seen you multiple times in the Bears tees.
It's not uncommon.
Yeah, which is rad. You gotta rep your city.
No, for sure.
So obviously it's funny too because Chicago's closer to Toronto and we pick a lot in Toronto, so we end up getting a ton of Chicago gear coming over the border.
Oh yeah, I bet.
But obviously picking back in those when you were back home, like fuck, it's just like Bulls gear, Bears gear, all the Chicago stuff coming out all the time.
Every day. Like, every time I'd go, I'd tell people now, like, I would like pass on like 91 Bulls stuff because I'd see it so much. Like,
That shit is
and
so
now I'm
gold
like,
now, especially
oh,
after.
like I should have, like, you know,
Yeah.
just don't pass anything. Like, grab everything. And now it's like impossible to find.
Because we were into snapbacks, and there was a huge snapback boom in like 2000. I don't know, 2008 to like
Oh yeah,
2014 or something. Like it was a
for
big boom.
sure.
So when you look at sports, it's like Chicago Bulls is like the all-time most selling team for gear, period.
For
With
sure.
you know, with Raiders and Lakers, and there's a few
Mhm.
teams, but like Bulls is like number one basically, and you can
No,
always sell that shit. Like it's
for sure.
um
They had like an absurd amount of merch. Like, I mean, they had two three-peats. Like,
yeah.
that's pretty insane. Like, just imagine all the gear they were pumping out for those 6 years, you know?
So you were super young at that point.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was like, I'm 33, so I mean, I remember like sitting in my dad's lap and like watching the like 91 or 92 playoffs, and he had like friends over. Like, my dad doesn't have friends. Like, he hasn't had people over like since then. Like, I mean, he's from Italy. Like, he has friends over there, but he never really had friends like in the States. So he had like a crew over, and they were just smoking cigs and watching the Bulls. And I was like 4, sitting in my dad's lap, like just like stoked to like I didn't even mind like the cig smoke. I was just stoked to like be watching the game with my dad. Like, I don't know, it was just kind of a cool memory.
Yeah,
But
I'm
yeah,
sure the vibes
I
were
was young.
high because the whole city must have been buzzing like crazy in that era. Obviously, when you're 4, you don't remember it so much.
Yeah.
But,
No, that shit was probably pandemonium.
that's super cool. Yeah, big sports town. Okay, so yeah, back to the bins and stuff. And you said like you're all buddy with everyone in Denver, and it's like such a good scene there. So are you friends with the Thrift Con guys? And did you ever sell at those events?
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with those guys. I sold at a couple. I did the first one ever. My friend and I split a booth. That was it wasn't even that long ago. It was like 3-4 years ago or something, 3.5 years ago. And like, it's sick what they're doing. Like, Miami, LA, like there's an Atlanta one coming up, I think. Like, I mean, it's fucking cool for sure. It's like, I mean, that is like the Rose Bowl of Denver, you know, or like just
Yeah.
you know, the big like vintage event, and like people like travel out for it and stuff.
We did the
I
one.
mean,
I haven't been to Denver. I mean, I've been to Denver, but not
yeah,
for that.
right.
And I did the one in LA though, which was rad. And
Oh yeah.
I've met all those guys a few times, but they're all super nice guys. And yeah, I'm proud of what they're doing. It's super rad.
Yeah.
They're expanding, and the event in LA was great. Like we had a booth. They gave me a booth super last minute. The crowd was good. They got a lot of people out to it. People were buying. The vibes were good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a sick event. Like, it's really cool what they're doing. It's like, it's pretty, it's just sick, like the magnitude that it's gained, you know?
Yeah.
Like, good for those guys. Dave Meets World. Like,
Yeah, he's the homie.
He's a good dude.
So those guys found, well, I don't know this whole story. I think it's Dave Meets World found all those bootleg shirts that came out at the bins.
The
right?
dead stock bootleg, yes.
Yeah, this is like the Denver news. This is the big Denver.
Oh,
I
I was there for like a one day of it.
You were? Okay.
I remember we refer to it as the dead stock bootleg. Like, that's still commonly, like, it's like often brought up, like the dead stock bootlegs are coming back today. Like, just bins full of like Black Bart and like Public Enemy shirts. Like, those shirts are worth like $10 now because of that. Like, just, like millions of those shirts coming out.
They just got flooded. So flooded the market. And I even bought some because I remember somebody came to the Rose Bowl, or maybe I ordered from somebody, but somebody hit me up, and I ended up selling like a couple boxes of them at the Rose Bowl that I got from somebody in Denver.
No, that shit was crazy though.
So yeah, what's your memory of that? Like, you were there one day and then they just started rolling these bins out?
This is hilarious to talk about. I love talking about this.
Okay,
So
good.
I was doing some like wholesale, and I had a couple friends that were at the bins in Denver, and my friend Dane, I don't know, I was like waiting to get bought out at like Buffalo Exchange. I don't know, typical shit. And I saw like my friend's Instagram story. He found like a bunch of like, Black Bart shirts, like crack kills with him and like the fat chick's ass crack, and just like
Yeah.
some funny, like, like there were like 6 or 7 of them. And I was like, oh, damn, that's cool. Like Dane came up. And then I pretty much just went to the thrift store to hang out and like meet up with friends. I had like no anticipation of even like really finding anything. But then the last 2 rotations, like just like bins full of white shirts were coming out, and like we realized what they were. So we were just like sweating and like grabbing like armfuls of these shirts and like going through them. And it was like me and a few other buddies. We were like trading, and it was fun. It was like, that was the day it started. And then the next day, like I came up on like a decent haul of them, like some like Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson ones, and like I had like a Snoop Dogg one. And I mean, it was exciting at the time because that's just some shit you would never see, like in general, let
Yeah.
alone like by the dozens. Like we had like, shopping carts full of shirts. And then the next day, I had planned to go on like a picking trip. So I left town, and then I just see on like, social media, it just kept happening. And then like a few days later was like the mother load, like when there were like literally like like aisles of these white shirts, like the whole row of like the blue bins would be full of these shirts, like, and it happened for like months. They were like trickling out for like 6 months or something. It was like kind of insane, but it was funny because I went on this picking trip, and I went to Phoenix to like visit some friends in Tempe, and like skated and hung out and like went to the bins in Phoenix, and like the thrift lord was there, and he was like, yo, I heard you were at the Denver bins when those dead stock bootlegs were coming out, or like everybody knew about
You
it.
met
Like
Taryn at the bins?
in Phoenix, yeah. And
So random.
he was there like just on a trip, like as was I, but he like everybody knew about the dead stock bootlegs. like I went to like a couple other, towns that like people were like asking me about them, like other pickers and stuff, like, yo, like you come up on any of those rap tees in Denver? I was like, how do you know I'm even coming from there? Like just people like just lurk the web so heavily.
Oh
And
man. Well,
like when some
news gets around. That was
oh
like all the
yeah.
rage.
No, that was like kind of insane.
Was Taryn with Chris at the bins?
He was by himself. I mean, that was like,
That is
I
so
met him a
random.
couple times after that, but that was the first time. And it was just funny because that was like the first thing he brought up. Like, he's like, oh, you came up on like those shirts in Denver. Like, I don't know, it was just kind of funny. Like, I guess it didn't really dawn on me how word gets around the way it does, like a couple years ago.
Yeah, no, it does for sure. That's so funny. Yeah, me and Taryn are good buddies. I
Oh,
talk to him
yeah.
often. It's funny that you ran into him at the bins. He was the first person that took me to the bins.
Really?
I went with Taryn to the bins in LA back when he was still living out there.
Yeah,
I've only ever been to the bins
his stomping
once.
ground.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good on you. It gets to be a bit much sometimes, but I mean, that's kind of all we really have, unless you want to go to like estate sales or like abandoned houses, or just meet somebody that like, hey, you want to come to my attic and look through all these boxes of shirts I've had for 70 years. Like,
You
like,
guys have multiple bins, correct, in Denver?
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say how many, but there's a
bunch.
handful.
So have you ever done the abandoned houses?
I've kind of toyed around with it. Actually last week, a couple friends and I went on like a full mission. Came up empty, but I mean, it's fun. Like
An
it's
adventure.
definitely an adventure. It's just like a different way to go about it. It's dangerous. It's like kind of sketchy, but I mean, that's kind of what I like about it, honestly. Like I would,
it's kind of like skating a spot where you're gonna get
no, totally,
kicked
like
out by some
getting
rent-a-cop.
getting chased by security or some like crazy fucking like meth head or like, you know, in like the abandoned house scenario. No, I
Yeah.
mean, it'd be exciting to like find some stuff that way. Find like the first pair of jeans ever or something.
Oh yeah. Fuck. Just keep digging for that first pair of jeans. I wish I could do that more. I've done it a couple times, like in old farmhouses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we found stuff, but it's just you got to have the time to like hit the road and just dedicate to it, you know?
No, totally. I mean, it's just like another way to go about it, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, question. So you obviously know, like, you kind of touched on it before, but the game is booming right now, like, especially for T-shirts. Like this, we're in this weird time and vintage where like it's gone crazy, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's pretty nuts how things are going these days.
Has that affected your Etsy business? Like, has your Etsy business got better because of this boom?
Maybe a little, but I mean, it's not like I have like $1,000 shirts on there or anything. I mean, I've got a couple grails in the vault, but I mean, I got like kind of like a stash of like just in case, like if shit hits the fan and I've like run out of money, like I've got like a handful of shirts I could sell for a lot type deal.
That's funny. I've heard other people have their emergency fund in vintage.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
I'm sure it's like pretty common, but I mean, there's also like stuff that, you know, could be worth like, that's worth hundreds of dollars now. That'll be worth like $20 in like 5 years, you know? It's just like the boom.
That's
like,
another thing. Like, yeah, if you put your eggs in that basket of like that, you're subject to the fluctuations in the market, right? So,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
who knows what the market's gonna do potentially?
No, everybody like the vintage T-shirts are like popping off. I mean, I guess I have kind of noticed in the way that like it doesn't matter like even what it is. Like if it's old, you could probably sell it for like $20, you know, like kind of no matter
Single
what.
stitch bullshit print is like people want it still.
Yeah, like a family reunion, 1996, like $20. Yeah, like sure.
Totally. Oh man! So have you got involved in any of the hype online? Like, have you done live sales, or do you sell it all on Instagram?
I do Instagram a little bit. I sell like trash on my like personal page, like just like cheap stuff.
You heard it, everybody. Go grab some trash on her personal IG.
I mean, it's just, you know, cheap stuff that like, because I'm not gonna sell like $100 shirt on that. Like, no, they're gonna be like, why is that $100? Like, because it's rare and cool, and I don't want to get rid of it. Like,
yeah, it's that weird thing where you're like potentially like people follow me because they know me or this and that, and then I try to post like something for $500, and you get hit up by like this high school buddy who's like, "What the fuck is this? Are you crazy?" And you're like, you just don't get it. You're not in the scene, you know.
No, exactly. Like they don't understand. Like most people don't understand why anybody would pay that much for like anything, really. You know.
Yeah.
Especially not like a fucking T-shirt.
So, what's in the vault? What's in your safety trunk?
Yeah, I got some stuff.
Okay.
I could throw them out there if anybody wants to buy. I'm selling. I mean, I found a Ghost in the Shell shirt last week. That was kind of cool. Like a
Nice.
95 one. I was stoked on that. Don't really come across those ever. And when the bins first reopened, not a lot of people know I have this. I didn't tell anybody, but I found like a 95 Biggie shirt, like from when he was like alive. Like it's like a Tommy Boy Records like tour shirt. It's pretty wild.
Nice.
So I mean, hit me up with offers, y'all.
I'm sure your DMs are going to be flooded now after this podcast comes out. Is the Ghost in the Shell a fashion victim tag?
It's not. It's Oneida, like Power Pro, but I mean
Yeah.
it's like dated, it's licensed. I
Yeah,
mean
yeah,
it
totally.
seems legit to me.
I've seen those go off lately.
Oh yeah. That's one of the things, like it's worth like hundreds of dollars now, but like, you know, in like 5 years, like I probably couldn't like give it away, you know, like just some weird market thing. Like
Yeah.
everybody loves like 90s anime shit these days.
Well, it's true. I'm looking at like a pile over here in my office of like hookups tees, and I started selling them. I had like 25 hookups tees or 30 hookups tees, and I was like, you know what? The market's like capping out right now. Now
Yeah.
I'm going to crash the market by saying this on the podcast. But like, the market's like topping out on these because it's like an anime hype right now.
No, for
So
sure.
so I sold a bunch, and I'm going to sell the rest probably because I'm like, to be honest, I don't wear them. They sit in the bin. You know what I mean? I love old skate shit, but if I'm not enjoying them and like
Right.
let somebody else have them.
Yeah, like share it with the masses. If somebody wants to pay like X amount of money, I mean, they're definitely going to love it and appreciate it,
Yeah.
take care of it.
And it's like any market. It's impossible to predict though. You never know. Like we say that and then they could go to $5,000 in a couple
Yeah,
years
yeah,
and you're
for
like,
real.
fuck.
There's no telling. Like it's so weird. I mean, like 5 years ago, actually, yeah, I had a hookup shirt that I like couldn't give away. I sold it for like $70, and now it's like, you know, like a $400 shirt. It's so crazy, just how it works like that.
Yeah. And then things come up and go down and you know, like Mickey like Disney boom and then that's kind of like dying down now and
Yeah.
you never know. So as far as Etsy goes, I mean, I've had other people. I think I've had some guests that sell on Etsy, but probably not a lot of guests. You know, it's kind of different avenue for a lot of people. What
Yeah.
does well for you on there? Because I've had a friend who does Etsy, and he says cat shirts and cat sweatshirts are all the rage on Etsy. Like, do you sell that kind of stuff? And like, what
Oh,
items are
yeah.
popping?
Dude, like kind of anything. I'll list whatever. Like I try to keep it a little more like stuff that isn't like super cringe, like stuff that like, you know, I wouldn't like, I'd like, I don't know, like nothing like that's trash, you know.
Yeah.
like like the stuff that I like sell on like my Instagram story sales is like stuff I don't want to list on Etsy pretty much. But I mean,
Yeah, because
just,
you want
like,
that experience. You want that person, if they see an item and then they're like, I'm going to go check this person's whole page, you want them to enjoy like the shopping experience. So they're like, it's like a vibe shopping your page, right?
No, totally. I mean, I have good luck with like kind of, I mean, yeah, cat stuff, like animal print, nature stuff. I mean, it's not a lot, but like it's like you could make like, you know, sell a sweatshirt for a quick like $30 or something. Like nothing too like outrageous. I mean, like 70s and 80s shirts, just souvenir shit, like Levi's, like smaller sized 501s, like I mean, those are selling pretty good these days.
Nice.
And like, I mean, even blanks, like blank T-shirts and crew necks, like mostly crew necks, just like, you know, like 80s Fruit of the Loom or Hanes, like those will sell pretty quick.
Like you're talking blanks or printed?
Just like, you know, just plain sweatshirts, like, you know, like Raglan style ones, like 50/50, like those sell pretty good.
Yeah,
like
it's crazy. A buddy of mine yesterday told me, he's like, I sell blank tees in my store for $45. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? I need to get on that game because I definitely don't.
No, it's kind of wild. Like, I mean, you wouldn't think, but like, especially sweatshirts, T-shirts, like, I mean, I always grab older blanks just because I like them. And like, I'm getting into like screen printing a little bit. Like, I want to start just like making, you know, just like drawing cartoons and printing them on shirts and stuff. So I just like hoard blanks kind of, but like select ones, like I'll post like a nice like Screen Stars one on Etsy for like $30 or something, and like it'll sell in like a few days, you know. Like it's, I don't know.
So that's awesome. You're an artist.
Hard
You want to put some art on some tees?
Yeah, actually, for our band, I play in a band, and like
Sick.
I drew a little graphic for them, and we've come out with like a couple runs of shirts before that like I would just thrift. Like they're all like vintage blanks, like t-shirts and sweatshirts and long sleeves and stuff. And like I had a friend in Denver who like knew how to do it, just do it for me. Like I just like sent him like the images and he put them together like with like the drawing and the text. We're called Ladies Night.
Nice.
And but I drew up like a new graphic and I have a screen, so I want to try to like just do it myself this time around. But start with that and just see how it goes and like maybe try to accumulate more screens and I don't know, I mean just some other shit to get into.
How long have you been in this band?
A couple of years.
So were you guys playing gigs pre-COVID?
Yeah. No, it was good. Like we were kind of like we were in the Denver mix. Like we were playing like a show every week and like we have a bunch of other friends in bands and like it's a pretty tight-knit community. Like everybody skates or is like into vintage like so I mean it was pretty easy to like get into all that and like I already knew a lot of these friends anyways like just through either one of those. But yeah, I mean we were playing some gigs. We played the last show in Denver that I was kind of proud of, like before everything closed.
Literally the last show.
Yeah, it was like on a Sunday, I think, and then that Tuesday was like shut down, quarantine.
Crazy.
Like it was kind of wild.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Almost a whole year later.
I know, it's insane.
So are you happy now? Like, are you happy where you are in your life?
Oh, I'm stoked. This is like the happiest I've been, honestly. Like I'm like beyond stoked.
That's super rad.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped. Everything's great these days. I mean, I don't want to, knock on something. It can't get too good without getting bad, but I mean,
Ups and downs, of course.
Definitely can't complain though.
That's awesome. So like what's your skating regimen now? Like you head out just for fun or do you still go film some clips or you just kind of like, and like I guess too also now you're 33, I'm 40. So I mean I'm rickety and old.
We're veterans to an extent. I mean you more than I, but yeah, I mean I still get out there every now and again. I mean it's been kind of shitty weather in Denver lately, but I like meet up with friends and skate like a park, on Saturday or after work or whatever. I mean, like, not very often, but like, try to get out there like once a week. Just like do a couple kick flips, couple 5-0s, like check under the hood, like still got it. All right.
Yeah, totally. And then what about wintertime in Denver? Do you guys have a spot?
There's like an indoor park, but I mean, the winter's so like kind of I don't know, sporadic, I guess. Like it'll snow and then be cold for like a few days and then like 4 days later it's like 60 degrees or even the next day like it doesn't really like stay cold. So I mean it's like you wait a week.
Skate outside sometimes in the winter?
Oh, totally. Like you wait a week and like I mean there'll be like some snowy patches and stuff, but like for the most part like it's not bad. It's pretty like temperate on it, like all in all.
Yeah. Do you ever go up in the mountains? You snowboard at all?
I don't snowboard, but I like camping and hiking and stuff. I mean, during the summer, like we go camping quite a bit. And I mean, I like going to like, the old swimming hole or the creek and stuff like that. Like I like some nature activity.
Colorado's beautiful. So how far do you have to get out of town to get to some spots like that?
Like not very far. I mean, 20, 30 minutes. Like to find like a good campsite, like maybe like an hour. Like it's relatively close. I mean, the mountains are like right there. Totally. Or like the foothills at least. It's not too bad of a trek.
I went to Colorado about 2 years ago probably now. And my wife has a friend in, I think Crescent Butte we went to.
Okay.
And we kind of hung out in Denver. And we went to, is it Colorado Springs? It's like close to Denver.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, it's like an hour.
Yeah, so we went there. I have a thrift story from Colorado Springs. So
nice.
We're like, we woke up in the morning. I have 2 kids. My wife's there, and we brought a friend, and we were like going to get coffee. And then I saw the thrift store across the road, and I'm like, should I go or should I get the coffee first? And I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like, no, I'm with the family. I'll go get a coffee and like a donut or whatever, and then I'll go to the thrift store. Then whatever, we grab our coffee. I go to the thrift store. I walk in, and there's a dude standing there in the middle of the store holding on the hanger a Levi's 2nd edition jacket.
Oh, geez.
And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Damn.
And then I go up to him, and I'm like, hey, dude, like, you want to sell that to me? You know, like, what do you do in that scenario? Because I'm like, it was sick. It was like perfectly dark.
Just super dark.
Indigo denim, like good size, like mint condition. I'm like, shit. It was like one of those like grandma church kind of thrift stores, you know, like not a big Salvation or anything. And
damn, that's
he's like, nah.
That's heartbreaking. Oh, I hate that.
He's like, nah.
Was he a vintage person? Or
yeah,
was it
totally.
Like
and then he's like, I think I know you, dude. Like, are you this guy? I met you at Inspiration or some event. And
dude, I think I know who that might have been too. I heard about somebody grabbing one of those from a thrift store in Colorado Springs, like
maybe
a couple of years ago. Yeah, I mean,
this guy, he's like he's like kind of my age of a guy, maybe. The
story is kind of adding up.
And then I was like, so then I picked the whole store, and I was kind of like, fuck, shit. You know, whatever, that's life. You win some, you lose some. I ended up, they had a bunch of older stuff, but it was like mid-grade crap that guy didn't take.
Mm-hmm.
And
for a reason.
Yeah, but I grabbed it. I'm like, at least I'm getting something.
You might as well. You can't leave empty-handed.
And then I was so hyped because I'm like, okay, this trip's going to be sick. I'm going to score. Like, Colorado's the gold mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it was like dry. Like I didn't find anything the whole trip.
Damn, that's always kind of heartbreaking when you're like just anticipating like. Just
my expectations were here, and then it was
you can't. I know it's hard not to though. You're like in a new place and like fuck yeah, like gonna come up like. Never been here. These people don't know shit. And then you like find like a fucking family reunion shirt that you sell for $20.
That's it. Single stitch.
Because it's single stitch.
But we had a fun trip. I mean, Colorado's super beautiful. I went fly fishing.
That's sick nonetheless. I mean, there's other stuff to do for sure. Thrifting's like kind of a budget thing to do out here. Like there's a lot of cool activities you can do for sure.
And I still have a lot of friends in Denver, and because for snowboarding, like I live near Whistler. I live like north of Vancouver, a town called Squamish. But it's owned by Vail, which is obviously Colorado company. Oh, yeah. So I can, with my ski pass, I can hit up Vail, all these other spots. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I keep meaning to get down there and in the winter and like hit up these homies and then go for trips into the mountains. So I'm definitely coming, but when I do.
No, you should. Hit me up, dude. I'm down to hang for sure.
Okay, I have a quiz. You down for a quiz? This quiz is not traditional. I'm going to show you some vintage.
That all depends.
I'm going to show you some vintage pieces, and I have questions about them.
Okay.
They're vintage skate bits that I grabbed out of my trunks.
Okay? I'm up for a quiz, sure.
Okay, we're doing this. Okay. Some of this is probably pre your era, but we're going to go for it anyway.
All right.
Okay. Here is, remember this brand?
Oh, yeah.
Action? Okay.
Kareem?
Oh, you already got the
Brian
answer.
Anderson?
You got, yeah, okay. The question was, what pro skater is coming back on board to relaunch this?
Oh, Kareem.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Did you hear that? Because I guess like they tried to relaunch it, and then they were not successful, but then they brought Kareem on to like help them actually do it properly.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, I kind of, I heard about it, but I didn't know like the full scoop or anything really.
I fucked with this brand hard. I had the Kareems for sure.
Sick. I mean, I like the brand. I never had the shoes, but,
because probably they were kind of dying out by like 2008 or so, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'd imagine even before then, but I just remember like like Brian Anderson and like Mike Maldonado rocking them and like jump off a building. And I just thought they looked cool wearing them. Like, oh, those guys look sick in actions. Like, I want some actions, but I never got any.
Yeah, I remember. I definitely had a few pairs, and like the apparel is fucking rare. I have like
that's a relic for sure.
I have like 2 shirts, and that's all I've ever found.
Cool logo too.
Yeah, there's a story about this logo I heard from somebody who worked with them that it was like the logo for some Southern California town. Like, you know how towns will have like a big road sign that says like "Welcome to Huntington Beach" or whatever,
or it's like on like the like street signs or something.
Yeah, and they took it off. I want to say cool. It was like San Clemente or some town around that area where all the skate, because you know all the skate companies are down there, right?
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Okay, well, crush that one. Okay, I can only show you a portion of this graphic. Okay, do you know whose Santa Cruz graphic this is from the 80s?
Shit, that might be a little before my time.
Definitely.
I'm trying to think who it could be. I mean, it's not like, it's definitely not. Is it Jeff Grosso? It's not Grosso, is it? Did he? No. Yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah, this is like a handful of people.
This is Jason Jesse.
Oh shit. Wait, does it say his name?
It does say his name in the beard of the flames.
Yeah, I've just caught that. Like, wow, I could have gotten that right.
This is like a classic Jason Jesse. But I used to have a Grosso shirt too, and I actually used to rock. You know, Grosso had that logo that was like "Enjoy Jeff Grosso" and the Coca-Cola graphic.
Yeah,
I remember
that one. Seeing that. That's sick.
And I sold it before I was on my "I'm just gonna keep all the skate shit" vibe.
Yeah. Before you start like overthinking things and have to keep it all.
Yeah, I used to keep nothing. I used to keep literally nothing. And
me too. I would seldomly keep stuff, and now I like don't sell anything. I keep everything. It's getting to that point.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of, you got to hit that balance point too, because you're like, now I have bins and bins of this shit, and I'm like, I mean, it's all cool stuff to me, you know, and luckily some of the stuff has hit like mainstream hype now, you know,
yeah,
which is good because it is a gamble. A lot of the stuff that I put away, like nobody cared about for the longest time.
Right.
Okay. Do you remember this film?
I do remember this film. Yes. Damn. What a collection you got.
I got lots of random shit. This is on. This is the Oneida Power Tee, actually.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, so do you remember who was the lead character in this film?
Christian Slater.
Yeah.
I got that shit on VHS.
Nice. Actually, I need to get that. I
haven't watched it.
This is like one of the first Hollywood weird interpretations of the skateboard world, you know?
Oh yeah, like wasn't like they had like a bunch of stunt doubles, like Tony Hawk and Rodney Mullen or some shit, or like stunt doubles in that movie or something.
Yeah, and there's the scene. I think the scene when he's like sketching behind the car with the board that they make out of metal, and you put metal wheels on it. You're like, that's the dumbest thing ever. It's not really.
It's like the most like unrealistic shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Tony. Okay. Okay, this is a Canadian pro for Powell who used this beaver in, I think, multiple graphics. Looking for the name of this guy.
I don't know if I know this one.
Yeah, okay. This is Kevin Harris.
Oh yeah, I would have never gotten that. Damn,
he was
sweet.
He was like OG Powell, but like freestyle. So like he would have been like skating against like Mullen when they had the boards that were like squares.
The little like plank boards.
Super OG.
Well, that's awesome.
This is more your era.
Oh yeah, that's very much my era.
Can you name a couple skaters from this film?
I could maybe name that video in order, like Mark Appleyard, Jeff Rowley, Ali Boulala, I don't know, Rune Glifberg, fucking the fly out dude, Alex Chalmers.
Yeah, Canadian, great Canadian fly out, baby.
Arto, like, I mean, that's probably not in full order, but yeah.
That's pretty damn good, jeez.
That was like, that video was a big deal to me.
Yeah, this was a sick film, and I remember when this popped out, it was like huge production value, and as far as skate films were at the time, it kind of like blew minds.
Johnny Rotten, yeah, okay, who could forget that? No, that video came out when I was like 14, and it was a very looked forward to on, like, I think I might have like shed tears watching that video for the first time, you know, like it was a big deal for sure.
That is fucking rad. For those of you who are listening and you can't see the shirt, this is a Sorry Flip tee.
Best skate video of the 2000s for sure. One of them.
Yeah, I used to, when I first moved out west to BC, to Vancouver, I got to see Chalmers skate a bunch during that time because he was like the man. And you know, Vancouver, we have all those hippie parks.
Yeah, the kind of like ditch parks, like just a lot of like humps and
the hippie bowls or the rolly bowls. You know, they don't have coping, and that's where the Great Canadian Flyout fucking comes from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, what else? There's no, you can't deny it.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to see him and a bunch of the locals like shred. I remember just being blown away, like frontside flip over these hips, like over people's heads. You know, just crushing.
No, it was probably insane to see in person.
Super rad. Okay, last question on the quiz. But you basically crushed this quiz. What company? What major brand did this company become?
DC.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, DC. This is the Drawers clothing tee.
DC stands for Drawers Clothing, doesn't it?
Yep, sure does.
Yeah. I loved that company back then. I thought those clothes were so cool. It was like like a Tommy Hilfiger of like skate gear. Like they had like color block windbreakers.
The drawer stuff, or are you talking DC? Yeah,
no, totally. The drawer stuff. That shit was sick.
It was definitely like an urban kind of fresh kind of vibe, right?
Yeah, just kind of like streetwear-ish.
Yeah,
right.
Totally.
It was cool.
Again, like it's really hard to find anything drawers. I think I have like one. I think this might be the only drawers shirt that I have. Dude,
that's like, I've never found any drawers stuff ever, like in the wild.
Yeah, I'm stoked on it. I listened to a podcast with Ken Block recently about like the whole history of the brand, and obviously now they sold it, and I don't even know who owns DC, but it's like a monster. But
yeah, pretty much. It's just like all over print, like sports energy drink culture shit. Like at this point,
it's like Zoomies special, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
All over the mall.
Actually, my friend at the bins asked me not long ago, like, was DC ever cool? I was like, yeah, like I kind of forgot that it was. Like DC was like way cool in like the late 90s, like with like Mike Carroll and like a bunch of girl dudes skated for them and stuff. Like they had some like boxers and the clockers, like all those classic shoes. Like that shit was badass.
They were huge. And those shoes, that style, it was like the chunky style shoe.
Yeah.
They like faded out of popularity for skating. Like the core skating went to like a different vibe for shoes. Mm-hmm. But then that style shoe like maintained popularity in like weird places. Like you'll see those shoes still being worn in like, you know, like hick towns and like I don't know, middle class America type vibes, you know, and then
no, for sure.
It kept moving.
And now the kids are like all about that shit again, just like all the 90s like skate, like I don't know, culture and fucking gear. Like there's like kids wearing like, you know, like blind jeans basically, and like big ass shoes. Like they like reissued all those DC shoes, I'm pretty sure. Like all like the 90s, like late 90s, early 2000s ones.
Yeah, totally. It's definitely making a comeback. So on the skate shoe tip, what was your favorite skate shoe? Because as a skater, like we all have like, I don't know, for me, I had my go-to skate shoes that I probably
Oh
bought like
yeah.
10 pairs of, and everyone seems to have their own. Because the shoe is almost more important than the deck for like, I don't know. It's
No,
an important
I
part of the kit.
agree. I mean, you gotta like if you look down and don't like the shoes you're wearing, like you're not gonna skate as good, you know? Like you gotta be like kind of stoked on your gear and like if it's comfortable and like feeling good, you know? But um the first shoes I had that I like ran the shit out of, I really like the Kalis's, speaking of DC, like the OG Kalis's. And I liked S Excels and like the original Costins. I'd like a couple pairs of those. But the shoes that like I skated to no end and had like millions of pairs of were like the Reynolds 2s and 3s, probably. Like those two in like
Nice.
respective eras. Like skated the 2s till death and then they released the 3s and I had like 300 pairs of those. Like probably not that many, but like every color, like it didn't even matter.
I don't know which like number it was, but I definitely had Reynolds at some point for
Oh,
sure. And they were classic. Like,
yeah, the OG ones were fucking sick too. I had a couple pairs of those, but that was like, I mean, I got hooked up by America. Like they were sending me stuff for a bit, and I would just, you know, when they first started sending me stuff, I was like Reynolds 2s only. And then when Reynolds 3s came out, I was like, all right, now Reynolds 3s only. Like, I mean, I was pretty lucky to like get hooked up with them, but like, I mean, I would have bought them anyways, you know. Like I just love those shoes.
yeah. That's fucking awesome. I just thought of something. Okay. So you're from Chicago. Do you know Maya? She's owner of Mind's Eye Vintage in the Bay Area now, but she owned a skate store in Chicago.
Yeah, I saw that on like your page. I don't know if I've ever met her.
Do you know the shop though that she?
Yeah, Uprise.
Uprise, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the Chicago shop. Like that's pretty much like the only like core Chicago shop like almost ever, you know? Like the only one that like
So would you be buying decks there back in the day?
No, I mean I like honestly I went to Uprise for the first time like 8 years ago. Like,
Okay.
I didn't like that wasn't really like my scene, I guess, because I lived in the suburbs. Like I would go to like skate shops closer to where I lived.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't really like super hip in like the Chicago, like the like actual Chicago scene. I was like a, you know, like kind of outskirt suburb kid. But I mean, Uprise is like classic, like just that like 90s shop. Like it's pretty much always been the same. And like, it's definitely like one of the more legit shops like in the Midwest, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of history.
Totally random connection there.
No, I saw that. I was like, huh, I got to look more into this person. Like,
yeah, she that episode's cool. If you listen to it, we talk a lot about the San Francisco skate scene, like Embarcadero back in the day, and all those dudes who skated there. And she has good insight from owning that shop for sure through like a lot of different eras of the skate scene. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
So what's next for you? Like, you got what's coming up? You got any plans you want to talk about, or like big trips coming up?
Nothing crazy. I mean, I would like to travel, go on some picking trips. I'd like to like go overseas when that's like an option again, like when you're able to do that. I mean, the time being, I've kind of just been trying to save money to like, you know, just be able to dip out for like a month, you know, just drive far. I got a new car like a couple months ago, so I'm trying to take advantage of this. Like I've like never had a good car. So now that I have like a reliable car with low miles, like I'm trying to do some shit with that new whip. Like,
run it up.
Like take it to the East Coast, maybe, I don't know, wherever, Canada, like
Route 66, just go picking.
Drive to Spain, Australia. Like,
It's funny. I imagine when the governments are like, yeah, everyone can go wherever they want now. Like the fucking airline websites are just gonna crash. Everyone's gonna be like Mexico, fucking wherever booking flights, and like it's gonna be pandemonium.
And then you can't even go anywhere because it's too like clogged. Like there's not enough flights for everybody
like
to
next
get on.
available flight 2 years from now. Fuck.
Yeah, for real. No,
I think it's gonna be nuts because everyone's pent up in the same situation. Like, I mean, I guess America's open enough where you can travel around the States, but
yeah, it's probably a little different here. I mean, it's easing up. I mean, they got like people are getting vaccinated and shit. I mean, it's kind of getting back to normal slowly but surely.
Yeah. So you said you did that picking trip to Arizona. Like, do you do a lot of those kind of trips where you travel to go buy shit?
Every now and again. I mean, that trip to Arizona was way further than that. That's just like where it started. Like that was the biggest one I've gone on, and I was solo too. Like I went to Phoenix and then like Southern California, LA, SF, visited my friend who was living in Portland, and then my couple of buddies from Denver that I knew from Denver that moved to Seattle. So I drove all the way to Seattle in like a big loop, and then I was gonna try to like meet up with some friends in Idaho and like do some picking there. And I had friends who were like playing a show one night. Like I was gonna spend a couple days in Idaho, but then my car broke down and I got it fixed and stuff. But after that, I was like, forget it. I'll just go home. Like over this, I was on the road for like a month. Wow. But it was fun. I mean, just visited friends and picked and skated and kind of just did whatever. Took back roads, like checked out like a couple abandoned things, but nothing, just like kind of for my own curiosity, just like I'm by myself. I could do whatever I want, like type thing.
Yeah, just you're driving and you're like, hey, that place looks interesting. Let's pull over.
Yeah, like I'm never going to be here again. Like might as well check out like all that I can. But yeah, that was the biggest
Did you find good shit? Did you fill your whip with clothes?
Yeah, I found a decent amount of stuff, but like that was when the dead stock bootleg shit was going on here. That was so like, I mean, I could have like not gone on that trip and just come up on a shit ton of dead stock bootleg Public Enemy shirts that like Malcolm X shirts, but I mean,
you're just looking at home. You're like, "Fuck, that's way better than what I found today."
No, for sure. But I mean, that was a good trip. I mean, I found some cool shit for sure. It was worthwhile.
That's awesome.
I actually found an Osiris Aftermath tour shirt.
Nice.
That only had like a handful of stops, but one of them was my hometown, and I remember having that shirt like back then in like 2000. Or whatever, 99, 2000. It was like when the Storm came out. And
So it's like their premiere demo tour?
Yeah. Like the Aftermath, like Osiris tour with like the whole big team. And yeah, I found one of those shirts that has like the LaGrange, Illinois date on it. That was pretty cool. Like I had that shirt as a kid and got rid of it and then found it on that picking trip. So like that alone, I was like, this is fine. Like I'd be satisfied with just this,
Yeah. That's the best. It doesn't take much to make the whole trip, right?
Right.
I have some more questions from the fans, I guess you call them.
let them speak.
Let the fans speak. Okay. This person is Dear Doe Jane is their name. If you couldn't skateboard anymore, what would be the next hobby you'd get into?
I mean, I'm kind of already doing it. Like, I mean, I don't really skate all that much. I like the vintage thing a whole lot, and I like playing music. I mean, those two I'm pretty satisfied with. Yeah. I mean, if I couldn't skate as far as like use my legs, like that'd be kind of a bummer because there wouldn't be like all that much else. I mean, I'd like figure it out.
Okay, we kind of covered that one a little bit, but yeah. You get the same high, that picker's high, and
oh yeah,
from digging. Okay, so this is Supreme Vintage California. asks, what OG skate piece would you love to have or love to own?
Damn, that's a pretty good question. Like the first board I ever had was Jeremy Klein Birdhouse, like the Grenade Man graphic, if you remember that one.
I can't remember it specifically, but sounds rad.
It was like, I mean, it barely even, like, it had his name in Birdhouse, like, really small. It was like this giant, like, kind of just anime, like, superhero little character thing. But that was my first board. And my friend, when we were, like, 16 or something, my friend had that shirt. And I was like, where the hell, like, how did you get that? Like, why do you have that? And at the time, I was like, I don't want to ask him for it. It's his. He wears it a lot. Like, I don't want to like take this from him because he likes it. But now I'm like, I should have got that shirt. Like, that's one thing. Like, that's like one skate, like article of clothing, I guess. But I mean, videos, and I mean, it'd be sick to have like, just, I don't know, like every 411 or something, you know?
Yeah, no kidding. Those were so dope. It was like, it's so different the way you consume content. You had to wait to get it, you know?
Oh yeah. Like, it was, and you're greatly rewarded.
Yeah, you're so stoked. You'd call your buddies to come over to the house, like, okay,
hell yeah,
like, let's fucking watch this. And then you'd watch the vids to get stoked to go skate. You'd rewatch those same videos over and over and over.
Yeah, no, I miss that for sure. I mean, that's a reason why, I don't know, I can't really think about skating the same way as I, like, it's not like you don't really like you know, you don't get any sort of like reward like for waiting, or I don't know, like pretty much what we just said.
Yeah. Do you, like, so was social media not like when you were skating at your peak, like was social media a thing?
Not really. It was like barely beginning to be like, I mean, Instagram was new, very new actually. Like, people were like just getting iPhones and shit. Like, that was like,
yeah,
that was just like kind of beginning, like in so, like
yes,
2007.
Like skaters weren't using that as like a marketing tool or anything back in those days, probably.
No, not at all. I kind of miss that. Yeah. It's a lot different now.
Okay, well, FL.Vintage asks, we already covered this, but he asked, do you get the same as hyped finding a vintage piece as you do landing a trick? And the answer is totally.
Yeah. I mean, FLA Vintage knows.
Yeah. Okay, well, is there any females or other pickers in Denver you want to put on, like give a shout out to, like people in your crew or people you see on the daily out there?
I mean, there's too many people to name. We're all homies. I mean, I love everybody in the Denver thrift scene. Like, it's fucking sick. Like, we're all cool. We're fortunate to all be so cool. But I mean, my girl Katie, Time Baby Vintage. I got more dresses for you. find me a sick shirt. Homie Jake, Old Dogs Vintage. My triple OG, known that dude forever. My friend Dane, Darklands. That's a sick shop in Denver. If any of y'all in the podcast cyber world are ever in Denver, it's a sick vintage shop to check out. And I mean, there's too many people to name.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good list.
That's crew right there. That's like pretty tight crew.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love that the Denver scene is tight, you know. I know quite a few people in it, and I've made some good friends, so
hell yeah.
Definitely coming your way.
No, anytime, man. You're more than welcome.
Is there anything else you want to go over on the show? That was an awesome episode, by the way. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for inviting me. That was fun. I think we covered a decent amount. I think I'm pretty satisfied.
Okay, great. I want you to leave satisfied. That's the goal. Okay. Well, thanks again. We're signing out. That was rad.
Totally. Good to meet you, Drew.
You too.
You've listened this far on the episode. kudos to you. Big round of applause for making it this far, listening to the end. Go like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, or you're dead to me. Also, if you want to support, please click the Patreon link. Lots of great shit on there. Thanks to all the supporters. Thanks to all the listeners. I see you all, and I appreciate you. See you guys on the next one. Lots of great guests coming up.